One of my favorite exercises to include in a program, whether that's strength training or in rehab, is the split squat. And what I commonly see on the internet is not a lot of people understand why you would choose one split squat versus the other. So what we're gonna do in this video is we're gonna talk about 5 different split squat variations that you can use and understand why and when you would use them for your clients or for yourself. Hi, I'm Alex Effer, founder of Resilient Training and Rehab, and I've helped thousands of coaches and clinicians get faster and better results with their clients. Let's get into it. So when I'm thinking about exercises in general, especially the split squat, I'm thinking about progressing the exercise not based on how hard it is, which is what traditional progression models are. I'm going to do this exercise because it's easier than that exercise. For me, the way that I see it is I like to base it on something that's a little bit more tangible and a little bit more objective, and that's the center of mass. So if my center of mass goes towards my heels, that's gonna make my body lighter against gravity. So if I'm holding on to something like a TRX or have a weight in front of me, that's gonna make me lighter. If I put a bar on my back or if I go on one leg, and my center of gravity shifts towards my toes, there's going to be increased tension in the body and increased force production that's needed in order to perform the movement. So the lighter that I am, the easier the movement, the more expansive, the more I open up range of motion, the less intensity there is. The heavier I am, there's increased intensity, increased maximal force that I need to put into the ground in order to accomplish that movement and maximal tension. So what we're going to do is we're going to break down these exercises based on this scale of unweighting, shifting the center of mass back, opening up range of motion, to overcoming, increasing tension, increasing the amount of gravity placed on the body so we can elicit more force production. So the first exercise I like to do is the banded split squat. So by holding onto the band more vertically, that's gonna unweight the body. So essentially, as I go down into the split squat, what you're naturally gonna feel is that your body starts to get lighter as you go down. And the reason for that is because the tension of the band as you descend starts to increase, and that's gonna wanna lift you up. So as you go down, you're gonna feel yourself get lighter. And when you come up, the automatic band recoil is gonna lift you up, so you don't have to put a lot of weight into the ground to lift yourself up. This is great for people who maybe have knee pain, who are getting into split squats. Maybe they have really limited range of motion, because the more I unweight the body, as I said, the more I'm gonna shift my center of gravity back towards my heel. That's gonna open up the front of the ankle, open up the front of the hip. It's going to teach the body how to decompress the joints like the hips that maybe are always squeezed, or the pelvis that's always squeezed, pushing the center of gravity forward. The more that I can hold on to something like a TRX or a banded movement like this, the more I can unweight the body so I don't have to use so much tension in order to produce force, but I can use the right range of motion or the right motion at the joints to create that movement. So this is a great split squat to introduce. Maybe it's for someone who's in pain, maybe it's someone who's very limited in their mobility, they have a lot of tension, they're deconditioned, or it's a great warm-up just to pattern the movement. So the second exercise is gonna be the front foot elevated split squat with a reach. Now what's great about the front foot elevated is by naturally putting your foot on top of something that's slightly elevated, it's going to shift your weight back towards the back leg. Now, if I have my shin go backwards, again, if my center of gravity goes back towards my heels, that's gonna make me lighter. If my shin, therefore, goes back, it's gonna make me lighter. So always during this movement, despite the fact that if I go down, you see the shin going forward, I'm still naturally, as I come up, gonna push myself backwards. So instead of pushing myself forward, which is going to shift the center of mass forward, increase force production and stiffness, which stiffness isn't a bad thing, but in this case, because we want to open up certain range of motion, we want to reduce the amount of stiffness. So by going forward, I increase stiffness. By going back, I reduce stiffness. So with this exercise, I like to start people having the dumbbell close to their body. They're going to have their weight on the balls of the toes, not on the toes themselves. And they're gonna have their knee slightly unlocked. As they go down, they're going to reach forward. So they're gonna breathe in as they go down, Breathe out as they come up. Because now I get that coordination that as I go down, I'm shifting my weight forward slightly. As I come up, by also kind of rowing the dumbbell, I get to shift my weight back. And so what a lot of people will start to feel is they'll start to feel the inside part of their quad working and a lot of glute, because it's going to help internally rotate the hip, internally rotate the femur, which is great for absorbing force. And so as I'm going down, I'm going to open up the back of the hip. As I'm coming up, I'm almost shifting my weight backwards. Okay, so this is great for somebody, again, who's missing internal rotation of the hip, missing hip flexion, and for somebody who may be experiencing some type of piriformis thing, some type of low back thing, or they're just trying to get back into the training because they have limited mobility, but they need to, again, unweight themselves a little bit more in order to perform the movement. So the third exercise is going to be a Palloff press split squat or a cable hold split squat. So the reason why I like this a lot is because if I have my left foot in front and I hold the cable out, the cable is going to try to pull me on the outside of the foot. And so I naturally have to lock down that inside edge of the foot, which is going to promote more pronation of the foot, so the arch going down, and more internal rotation through the body. So if we think about it from a gait cycle, when my heel strikes the ground, there's a lot of external rotation and there's a lot of force absorption. It's kind of like our banded split squat. And then we start to progress our body forward. That's like our front foot elevated. This is going to be a great exercise in order to solidify that our center of gravity going over top of the foot and creating that force production, but again, in a way that I can keep the hips open. I'm not compressing or arching my back. I get the obliques to lock down the rib cage and lock down the pelvis to allow for the right motion to happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the cable with the outside arm. So in this case, the right arm. The left hand's going to go on top. I'm then going to push the cable in front of me. I don't want you to squeeze your shoulder blades back and arch your back. I want you to think about pushing yourself back towards the heel. So you're reaching nice and long, not losing height, but you're just reaching, maintain the same height. Then you're just going to go down, and then you're going to go up. The whole time I'm staying heavier on the front leg, so think like 60% of the weight is on that front leg, 40% is on the back leg. With this exercise, you may feel a little bit of your shin working now because the tibia is going to start to turn in. You're going to feel the inside quad again, and you're going to feel that glute. You may feel some abs. I don't want this to be too tight where you're really having to pull the cable, just enough that it's going to throw you off. So the fourth exercise is the Jefferson split squat. So again, kind of moving towards our toes or moving our center of gravity forward. The Jefferson split squat's a great exercise because it's going to lock us into internal rotation. Just by having the barbell underneath our leg, we're not able to fully extend the hip or fully come up. Also, it's going to keep us in that lower center of mass. So we're going to have to lower ourselves a little bit more than normal split squats, just because of how we're holding the bar. The other thing too is where the bar is, because it's in line with my hips versus being in front or being behind me, it's going to be more of a vertical movement. And when I have more of this vertical movement, I'm really going to get the glutes to be working a little bit more, those proximal hamstrings, so the hamstrings attaching at the hip, and this is going to start to prepare me to push myself forward. The other exercises were meant to shift our weight back and then kind of push our weight up with the Palloff press. This is now teaching us how to shift our center of mass forward or center of gravity forward and start to drive that hip extension. So what you're going to do for this Jefferson split squat is you're going to take a barbell, could be a Smith machine or could be a barbell, and you're going to put it in between your legs. You're going to have to crouch down to get into that position and be able to pick it up. But as I said, there's only so high you can go. So the entire time you're maintaining that knee flexion, and you're going to be slightly leaning more forward on this front leg. This position is automatically going to reduce how much weight you can put on this back leg. So we're going to keep our body leaned forward over top of this front leg. We're going to go up and down. You're going to feel a lot of glute working, a lot of quad, and some hamstrings working because it's just going to force that propulsion, force the center of mass to go forward and drive that hip extension. So the last exercise is going to be the rear foot elevated split squat or the Bulgarian split squat. And so because my leg is on top of the bench now, and I'm going more on one leg, you can even see as I put my leg on top of the bench, my center of mass has to go forward. So naturally, this is going to be the most forward exercise that we've talked about for our center of gravity standpoint. So this is really going to start to drive hip extension, really start to turn us out of this side, which is why it's our last exercise as part of this sequence. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my back leg so that my knee is underneath my hip. I'm going to have my front leg forward slightly so that when I go down, my knee is kind of over top of my toes. I want to keep the weight through my heel at all times, but it's going to force my torso to have to lean forward slightly. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to minimize how much weight's on this back leg, and I'm just going to go up and down. And even better is if you maintain a slightly forward lean the whole time. So you're not leaning back like this, you're always staying with a more horizontal torso angle. And you're just going to go up and down, trying to maintain the knee flexion the whole time. So in this video, we talked about the 5 different split squats based on how they push our center of mass forward and understanding who you would use it for and why. If you understand how to apply this into a 3-phase strength program that not only improves strength, but also mobility and reduce compensation, then check out my rebuild blueprint. It's going to take all these exercises and put it into a 3-phase system that is going to address all those limitations while still strength training. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, save, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.